Pilas
Ay,
ka. Pilas talaga.
oo.
Yun.
Kaya nandito ako sa Manila Hotel ngayon. Look, it's over here, you know. Oh, ay, saan ba? Hindi yata nakikita
Okay.
yung ano eh. Kasi nag-virtual ako eh. Oo. Anyway, so yun. Multiple ano as usual.
Yes, sir. Multitasker talaga yun si sir.
Multitasking, oo. Tapos Gladys, nag-usap na kami ni Elmer kanina. Sabi ko, let's build communities in the provinces kasi sabi ko no amount of promoting STEM parang ganon no lalo na research kung fundamentally yung natural sciences natin very weak. Yung chemistry, biology, mathematics and physics, you cannot advance in your pag talaga that's why sabi ko nga kay Elmer, we'll try to do a community advocacy. Pero it has to be done on either per province or per pipiliin prioritize lang natin.
Alvin, we are starting now. Yes, we are starting. It's 8:25.
Sure.
Okay? Sige.
Okay.
Thank you.
Nasa na ba yung
Good morning, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Fireside Chat Series, PAASE for Philippine Innovation. I'm Gisela Concepcion, PAASE member and Professor Emeritus at UP, and I'm currently serving as an executive member of the National Innovation Council. And in the month of September, we began this series, and this is the third, on an important area of innovation, which is education or education. So we would like to feature innovators, innovation strategists, and all those who are involved, say, in innovation policies in this series of Fireside Chats. Today, we have a very special guest, and he is a PAASE member based in the United States. He will be introduced by my co-host, whom I will introduce now. So Dr. Alvin Culaba is a distinguished professor of mechanical engineering and university fellow, an energy scientist and technologist, pioneer of life cycle assessment in the Philippines, vice president of the National Academy of Science and Technology, reviewer and monitor of PACARI and STRIDE projects, past president of the National Research Council of the Philippines, and past president of this organization, the Philippine American Academy of Science and Engineering. So, ladies and gentlemen, I yield the floor to Dr. Alvin Culaba to introduce our guest speaker. Thank you.
Hello, Giselle. Good morning, and welcome everyone to our third of our series of Philippine Innovation Fireside Chats. And today we have another exciting topic to discuss. This is for us, no, as educators, and I think we are joined in this particular Fireside Chat with many educators from various universities in the country. And indeed, we are privileged to have an esteemed scientist from the US who will share to us the transformative educational approach in enhancing science learning through videos and artificial intelligence tools. It is my honor and pleasure to introduce our esteemed speaker. He is a professor of the Department of Chemistry and Physical Sciences at PAASE University, based in New York City. Also an adjunct professor at the City University of New York, York College Department of Chemistry, and professorial lecturer at the UPLB Institute of Chemistry. Our speaker today is currently the director of the Collegiate Science and Technology Entry Program and the associate director of the Forensic Science Program at PAASE University. He has a personal advocacy, and I've been discussing this with him, no? And I hope we can really promote this in the entire country. This project called Community. Probably later on he can expound on what this community is all about. But obviously, it is chemistry in the community, in which he conducts webinars and mentors students in different institutions in the country. Ang di ko lang alam kung libre ito, Elmer, I mean, or not, no? You will be flooded with requests after this forum today. Anyway, again, our speaker obtained his BS and MS in agricultural chemistry at UP Los Baños and his PhD in chemistry at the University of Buffalo in the US. It's indeed our pleasure. Giselle and I are really honored to have today Professor Dr. Elmer-Rico E. Mojica. Elmer?
Okay, thank you very much, Sir Alvin, for that kind introduction. So today is a pleasure for me to share the experience that I have of 25 years of teaching. Disclosure, I don't have any vested interest to any AI that I'm going to talk, because the AI tools that I use are free, okay? And this is just based on what we call personal experience. I'm just a user of this AI tool. I didn't develop them. So I just try to utilize them in my teaching. So after the two webinars that are quite high-end about space program and the Batangas State University engineering program last time. So I think it's about time I talk about those students who will go to those programs. Okay, so I think this is a rare time that I have to put all the institutions that I connected. So during daytime, I'm a full professor in PAASE University. During weekend, I'm an adjunct professor in chemistry in York College. This is a college in City University of New York. Okay, and during nighttime, I'm a professional lecturer in Institute of Chemistry, and I have the project community that I usually my personal advocacy since I was in UP Los Baños. So I also like to share the academic journey that I have, Cavite State University, which I taught for a year. That's why I'm familiar how the programs or policies are done in SUC and then in UB. I teach part-time and one time or another while here in New York at St. Francis College, Mercy College, Bronx Community College, and Borough of Manhattan Community College. So all of them, I would say, give me memories and as what Coach Reyes says, learning experience as I go on my teaching career. Okay, so the journey that I have, I would say, begin when I was a kid. I don't know if everyone's familiar with this. I think the one in my age. So every Saturday night, there's a show on RPN 9 called MacGyver. So he doesn't use any firearm. What he uses is mostly knowledge on his chemistry. Okay, so I was fascinated during that time. And I know when I was in college, Dr. Cristina Padolina is using a sample from MacGyver, but unfortunately, I was not a student. Okay, and then when I start teaching, I try to tell myself, I want to be different because most of my batch of teachers in UP Los Baños, they have laude and I'm just an ordinary graduate. Okay, so I think I have to do something we could say different. And during that time, I have access, limited access to internet. So I was introduced to this professor, John J. Portman. Okay, so what I read in the JChem Ed is the pictorial analogies that he had, a series of articles. And when I requested for a copy of it, okay, I got a folder containing all the drawings, okay, or the illustration coming from it. And then from that time, I know that he is also what we call a fan of chemistry, trying to make it popular. So he holds this thing. The only regret that I have is I was not able to meet him personally when I came here in the States because he retired by 2001. Okay, but that's the start of what I have and how obsessed I am with the movies. I would say during that time, I mentioned scenes in movies, but I cannot show them the scene because hindi pa tayo high-tech, I think around 2000. Okay, but how obsessed I am, I think 2001 in Chem Congress, I have an oral presentation using movies to help teach chemistry. Okay. And I would remember the room was really a standing room. And daming umattend. Okay, and I recall what Dr. Fortune Sevilla told me. Why don't you have any example about Filipino movies? Which I gave during that time because it's really limited even until now. But that's just the start. So when I came here in the US with more resources, okay, so I was able to coin now the so-called chemtertainment. So this is just a mixture of the use of popular movies in discussing the policies. Okay, so here I have access to the movies. The library is here. They have you can rent the movies for free, and I use this software Handbrake to cut scenes from the movie that I use every time I discuss some what we call scene. So who will not be engaged if you have a scene coming from the movie? Because based on the paper that I read, they said if you're going to use movies or clips, okay, these are the different learning outcomes that you can have. You can grab your students' attention, generate interest in class, energize or relax students for learning exercise, increase understanding, increase memory content, foster creativity, foster deeper learning, serve as vehicle for collaboration. I think the one that I really like, make learning fun, and decrease anxiety and tension. I think everyone knows chemistry is not really an easy course. Okay, so in addition to them, it could focus the students' concentration, create a sense of anticipation. So every time I saw that, so every week or every time we meet, they anticipate what's the next scene that is going to show up. Okay, and then build the draw students' imagination, build the connection with others, improve attitudes toward content and learning, simulate the flow of ideas, provide an opportunity for freedom of expression, inspire, and motivate students. I think that's one of the key reasons why I use it, and set an appropriate mood or tone, and create memorable visual images. So, sino bang hindi maengganyo if you see a movie like this? I hope this run. Okay, unfortunately, it doesn't run. Okay, so you might say, what's Indiana Jones doing here? Anong connection niya sa chemistry? So this is what I show every time I discuss density. Okay, why Indiana Jones failed Gen Chem 1. Okay, because the next scene that you have there is the barrels, the famous barrel scene about it. So if ever you have scenes like that in the movie, the students are, oh, this is not the typical boring chemistry class that you will have. So doon pa lang, first day of class na excite na sila. And I was to what we call develop them, okay? And then 2012, so we have this teaching innovation grants in-house. So what we did, I said, I want the analytical chemistry lab to be more hands-on. I don't want them standing there 10 to 20 minutes listening to the pre-lab discussion that you have and wondering what they're going to do. So what we do, we record some sort of instructional video. So this I learned from UB. So the University at Buffalo, when I was teaching it, they have a video of the experiment that the students will perform. But analog pa yung ano nila video doon, hindi masyadong clear. So I told my colleague, why don't we do this? And then we require students to watch it. And for them to first watch it, okay, we're going to give a quiz, pre-lab during that time. So that during class, all the time, what we do is just to make sure they learn the right techniques, okay, and methods, how to what we call titrate properly, how to handle the glassware. Because if ever we do the pre-lab discussion, usually wala na yung attention nila. All they want is to what we call go home. But at least if they already have an idea on what to do, okay, madali na sa kanilang gumawa ng lab, and they will be taught how to do the proper lab techniques. Okay, so we put it in the LMS that we have, so they have access to that. Okay, and then during the pandemic, what happened is these videos are very helpful. Okay, and what we did is we looked at YouTube for some videos that is related to the experiment that we compiled the links of the videos. So like this, we compile them. And then since they cannot do the experiment during the initial semester when the pandemic was had, so we just asked them to watch this, what we call videos. And in other thing, we also record the pre-lab discussion and the sample calculation that goes in the what we call class. Okay, so that's what we do until we resume the in-person thing. And even when we resume the in-person thing, we keep all this stuff that we did, okay, during the pandemic, and we found it really to be helpful. Okay, and usually the one thing that I learned when I was in UP, if you can publish it, publish it. So from the Chemtertainment, where I was able to compile videos related to Gen Chem 1, a different chapter. So I was able to publish it, okay? And then for the video taping experiments that we have in analytical chemistry, because we surveyed the students on how useful and helpful those videos is, we also able to publish it. Okay, and then during the pandemic, okay, so this is after I give some webinars sharing my experience there in the Philippines. So we have this, and you could see the article views just we could say up to the ceiling, 14,000 plus, and it was considered one of the hot article in JCNF during that time. And also, I from time to time, I still want to publish what I have. So after 2 years, they published the way I use the, I don't know if you know Star Wars, the Mandalorian series. I always tell my students there's a quote okay, that if you want to learn chemistry, okay, this is the way. Okay, that's the quote that we have of this what we call Mandalorian. So that's what I do with what movies. Now, 10 years ago, I tried to do what Khan Academy is doing. That is to what we call videos. But what we do during that time is short homemade experiment. Okay, so that was 10 years ago. And here in this channel, I even show here some events that we do at home. This is my son, so we try to do it. So as you can see, the hits or the views is really low. Okay, and the problem that we have, I cannot do like a Khan Academy because I don't have a good camera, because Zoom is not yet available during that time. Okay, and in addition to that, okay, my son's channel has more views and followers than me. Okay, sabi ko nga, if I only look like this is my son now, I think I can get more views, but not because of the content, but because of the looks of the one who is what we call running the views. So I stopped doing what we call these YouTube videos until the pandemic. Okay, because during the pandemic, I ran what we call lectures, and some students of mine at PAASE said, can you at least post it in YouTube? Because when we are on the go, we have a hard time accessing our LMS. So at least in YouTube, we can just click it. So what I do, all the lectures are there. Okay, as you could see here, there's a ball test 5 here, the national anthem during the World Cup. Okay, but that's the latest one. But this is where I put what we call the long our videos that I have. And when I taught in the Philippines, I also put it there. Okay, because in my opinion, I said they may not understand it during the time I'm teaching them, but when they need to understand it in the near future, they can go back, okay, to that lecture. But unfortunately, I got complaints, okay, and these are from UPLB students that they cannot watch more than hour-long video. So last year, what I did is, okay, so let's have the what we call Khan Academy style, 5 minutes or less video of common problem solving in chemistry. Okay, so that's what I did. And since it's already available online for my students in UP Los Baños, so I told myself, what if I make it available to my PACE and York students? Anyway, they are what we call the same materials. So that's how I end up with this what we call YouTube channel. Okay, and right now I try to let other chemistry teachers know of their existence, because in my mind, it's already there outside, so you might as well use it. Okay, so as you could see, only students can force me to do stuff like this. Okay, just to what we call help them. And because of that, the pandemic also forced me to change in my research group, because what happened after some of my members graduated from the university, I have to train everyone from scratch. So what I did, okay, so in some instances, when you process the data, you just have to watch this video. Okay, so the difference of this compared to the others, as you could see, it's unlisted. So it's only open to the members of my group. So how to calculate what we call t-test, how to do the calibration curve, that is really related to our experiment. And we also have experiments on instrumental method, but only in-house. Okay, because when the students said, no, we don't want our face to be shown in the public, we have to obey that. Okay, and when I was teaching instrumental analysis in the Philippines, I also have this so-called virtual lab tour. So I have access to 2 laboratories, one at PACE University. Okay, so this is the microplate reader that we have, the new GCMS, and then the one in CUNY, York College, where I do my vibrational spectroscopy. So this is Raman, and this is what we call the IR. So at least the students may know how this instrument looks like. Okay, so we could say that's the experience that I have in using what we call the videos. Okay, because the next thing that I have, AI. Okay, but the AI I'm going to talk about here is not only the popular AI that we have right now, because AI has been with us for long. It only became popular as AI, okay, because of the ChatGPT. So when we're talking about AI, it refers to the simulation of human intelligence in machines that are programmed to think like humans and mimic their actions. So this is an area of computer science that focuses on giving machine the ability to think like human. Okay, So it is a technology that enables computer to think or act in a more human way. It does this by taking information from its surroundings, okay, and deciding its response based on what it learns or sense. So I told you AI has already been with us, okay? So these are the products of what we call AI. But I think the first AI that we have is the one coming from the bank, okay? When I'm ever there in the Philippines, as much as possible, I don't want to go to the bank. As much as possible, I just want to go to the ATM. Because I think this is one instance that you're wasting your time, 1 hour, and sometimes you don't get anything. You don't resolve any problem that you have. And when most of the graduate students who came from the Philippines and arrived, and I said, okay, you can open your bank account. They said, oh, I didn't think it's possible. 10 to 15 minutes, you can already open a bank account. It never happens in the Philippines. So that's just one of the product of, we could say, AI. Now, if you have the smartphones, all or almost all of the apps there are products of what we call AI. Here right now in groceries, we have the so-called self-checkout thing, okay? So it is a product of AI. So everything around us, we could say it's a product of AI. So AI is really, we could say, a part of us. Now, AI is also, we could say, found in education, okay? So this illustration that we have here, so this was published 2018. So you might say, oh, I thought AI is just now, but AI has been, we could say, been with us for some time. And I would say, I don't know, I'm lucky or unlucky to use some of these products of AI. So these are just some problems that AI was able to solve in the field of education. So we always have this, what we call one-size-fits-all curriculum, but we know that's not possible because students learn in different ways. So with the advent of AI, they were able to have this, what we call personalized learning. The students work their way through tasks, okay, at their own pace, and the platforms learns with them, adapting to their needs and ensuring comprehension. So there are softwares available for this, what we call type of learning, okay? And then we have this limited tutor time available for university students. So we can all AI solve it through the so-called virtual tutors, okay? So they make available some what we call virtual tutors. It started like chatbots, okay, or chatbox, okay, and then it becomes with what we call virtual tutors. Then the you know, everyone likes to teach, but the hardest part of teaching is what? The grading. And the easiest way to grade the thing, they said, is what? Multiple choice. What you need is to just punch a hole in your grading key, or at least make some sort of a code on the answer key, okay? But AI was able to solve that problem. So we have online web learning, or requirements that the students do online, and it is already graded for us before it reach the instructors, okay? And these AI tools, they also have the so-called virtual classroom assistants. So if they need answer, they don't have to wait the reply of their teacher in the email. The AI will be able to answer it for them, okay? And then they found that AI can increase engagement and retention. The very good example that we have here is the Georgia State University. So what they do is they come up with a way to connect with the students, okay? So those that they accepted in college, they, as much as possible, engage them with personal chatbots, okay? And what it happened is there's an increase in their enrollment by 3.9%, because usually student will accept the offer of the university, and then after the summer they forgot it. So what the Georgia State University people did is make sure to keep in contact with the students, and they do it in terms of what we call AI. They use software in the AI, and they were able to improve the engagement and the enrollment that they have. Okay, so these are just some of the solutions solved by AI during the early times. And the global market insights predicted that there would be an increase to 20 billion, okay, in the AI in education industry. So there will be a lot of AI tools that will come up, and unfortunately, most of them will be you need to pay to purchase them. Okay. Now, among the, we could say, benefits of AI to students, you can analyze the learning gaps that they have. So there are specially designed AI platforms that can analyze the performance of the students and identify gaps that easily go undetected in the normal, we could say, setting. And personalization is one of, we could say, the marketable tool that they do with AI. Okay. And the good thing with the AI, it question answered instantly. You're going to get feedback right away. Okay. So that keeps the students, we could say, motivated, because they were able to answer, because sometimes, especially on the weekend, they don't get a reply from their teachers. They lose their what we call interest. Okay. So that would lead to this so-called better engaging. So in addition to this, you can use augmented reality or virtual reality, and this can increase, we could say, the engagement with the students. And I think the main benefits of the AI, not only to students, but also to the teachers, time saving. Okay, you can use AI to generate ideas or structure contents, and it free up your time, okay, to focus on higher level skills, such as analysis and creativity. And the presence of this AI allow you, okay, to have access to data that you need, whether you're a teacher, an administrator. We usually use it. I said we demand more tutors for our learning center to teach students in this course, okay? And we use the materials or information that we get from the AI. And they said neurodiversity, so it can be applicable to all students who have neurodiverse learning capacity. Okay, so some would thrive better in an AI-powered environment compared to the normal environment. Okay, now for the educators, I would say it's the time saving. Usually, most of the time that we spend is what? Is in preparing materials. So if you have the AI, okay, it will save time. I'm going to give you a specific example as we go on. And then I think the next one is the idea and content generation. So instead of reading books or other materials, so AI can at least give you information right away. Okay, because they are already what we call some structures that they have. So all you need to do is to use them. They have the template already or content, and all you need to do is use it or find another one that is much better. Okay, you can ask AI to answer the questions by your student. Okay, some universities are already doing that. Okay, and as I told you, you can analyze the student performance. And the good with the AI, you match it with human intervention that can really help the student. You cannot always have just the AI, because if you see the student is not doing well, so it's time for you to intervene and help the students and tell him, hey, you're not doing well in class. Okay, and it can motivate and engage the students, because today we have what? Fast-paced, technology-driven world. People crave fun and exciting methods of learning to keep them engaged. Okay, so the typical teaching load that we have. So this is the, we could say in my life, the most hours that I have in a semester. So these are the PAASE. These are the York University and York College, and this is the one that I have in UPLB. So I told you weekdays, weekend, weeknights. My wife, who is a public school teacher here in NYC, this is what he had. So he's gone by 7 a.m. So I have to take our daughter, okay, to school, and he'll be back 4 or 5. Okay, so that would be what? 10 hours times 5. So that would be what? 50 hours. So we see we're giving a lot of efforts to the teacher, and the salary that we get is just like this. Okay, I don't know. I think everybody will agree with me on this. So if we look at this 50 hours of the average hours of the teachers here, only 49% of that is, we could say, deals with interaction with students. The rest, preparation, evaluation, and feedback. So this is what? The grading, okay? Professional development, administration, especially there in the Philippines. in addition to teaching, there's a lot of administrative things that our teachers has to do. Okay, and then student instruction engagement, behavioral development, and student coaching. Now, what happened if you use what we call AI? Okay, so with the use of AI, you save 20 to 30% of your time, and you can allocate it to support the student learning. So you have more time to see if your student is learning or not. So I think that's really a big help for us as a teacher. Okay, so if we're going to look at the possible potentials of the AI, I think it can help us in differentiated and individualized learning, automation of administrative tasks, tutoring and support outside the classroom, and I think the best one, universal access for all students, provided okay, we have the infrastructure, because I think that's the main problem that we have in the Philippines. We can have all the AI tools, but if we don't have internet, nothing. Okay, it's still useless. Okay, so that's the thing. And to share to you the product of AIs that I have through the years. So Pearson, mastering in chemistry, I think when I was in grad school, it was introduced around 2007 to 2010. Okay, sapling learning and Alex, I experienced it in York College. So they're being run by the AI. And the good thing about this software, the your initial answer depends on the next question. And I always tell my students, the name of the game here is just to convince AI that you're smart. And I ask them, how are you convinced that you're smart? You have to answer the question correctly. Because if you answer the question correctly, it will take you less time. But if you don't answer the question correctly, it will ask you questions that are becoming more basic and basic. Okay, because that means you didn't have the foundation. Okay, and then you have the Cengage owl. Okay, the one that I use in PAASE University. Now the problem with this one, students have to pay, so I don't think it's applicable in the Philippines. Okay, then we have the Turnitin. That's the plagiarism detector software, and then the LMS, the Blackboard, Google Classroom. Okay. And then we have here the so-called Locker Respondus, or the Respondus lockdown. So when you take online exam, so what the AI do is look at the movement of your eye, and if your eye is always moving or it's not in front of the camera, most likely you're looking at notes that you have, it can detect and flag it like what we call you're cheating. Okay, so these are what we call pay also. Now the best experience that I have in the AI is the Nearpod. You pay for it, but you develop it. Okay, and the good thing about this, if the institution has subscription to this one, the student were able to use them freely. All they need to do is use it, you download an app of it in their phone, and they can answer the question there. And for my writing purposes, I use Grammarly and WordTune. I'm not really a good writer. I admit that thing. Usually, I rely on my co-authors to check the grammar that I have, wrong grammar that I have. Usually, I'm always careless in everything. Okay, but if it's just me and my student, I usually utilize this software and I pay for them. Okay, and the Nearpod that I have mentioned to you. So your college asked me to develop a booster material for general chemistry too. So what I do, I devise them like a discussion for every chapter and the quiz for every chapter. So this is the whole, we could say, Nearpod thing. Now in each chapter, what I do, I have a PowerPoint slide, and then I just include there some of the video that is available from the Nearpod, or link it with the content that I found in the YouTube. Some of my YouTube, we could say, videos that I have there. And then I can put some stuff there that engage them, like this time to climb. So this is just answer. They need to answer to questions or quiz that is related to the topic that is being discussed. I like it. The students like it. And we see an improvement of their scores when they utilize this one. And this they can do it per phone. I think the college, your college, pay for it. But once the institution has subscription to it, all the users, as long as it has the same what we call email ad, they will able to use it. Okay. Now here goes to what makes the AI, we could say, in lately, the so-called ChatGPT. Okay, generative pre-trained transformer. So this is an open AI product. Okay, it's a computer program that can respond to questions and provide information on a wide range of topics. So when it was made available in November 2022, there's we could say 1 million users in 5 days. That's how popular it is. Okay, as of now, there are millions of users that you have. Now, the good thing with this, what we call AI tool, it helps people access information, communicate in a more natural and efficient way. You can treat this as your knowledgeable friend or a reference book, and it can answer questions that you have under the sun. Okay, I only utilize the free. I always have this motto in life: if you can get it for free, why not? Okay, so the 3.5 is free, or if you want to pay, there's I think the 4.0, $20 per month. Okay, all I need is the text. I don't need what we call images that is available in the paid one. Okay, so I try to use it because when it come up, I was during that time I am in productivity or procrastination because I just submit my promotion package, so I don't have to write any papers or submit any publications during that time. And when it came out, I tried to utilize it out of interest, and also being the co-chair of the student affairs in PAASE University, because I always think that there will come a time that the leaders will ask the committee, what can you say about this AI? Because I think the connotation that they have there is negative. The New York Department of Education banned the use of it, and then they leave it during May 2023. And during that time, I was teaching a course for education of science teacher, incoming middle school and high school teachers in NYC. And that's the first time I discussed about the AI. And we just focused during the time on ChatGPT. And after that, TIP called me, oh, we want a professional development thing. Do you have any topic? And then I told TIP, if you want, I have this AI thing. How knowledgeable are you with the AI? So that's how I end up utilizing this thing. Okay. But I would say after using this for a while, I think AI, I can just consider it as a tool. Similar to a calculator that you use in math. Okay. Okay. But for me, I would say the AI, like ChatGPT, is the one that will do the heavy lifting instead of you. Okay. It's like the MOOC, the massive open online course, which is free to everyone. As one Stanford professor, in a traditional way, I teach only 5,000 students, but using the MOOC, I was able to reach 1,000 students, 100,000 students. Okay, so that's the way I look at this, what we call AI tool, and any of the other AI tool. And I can ask it in one article some of the use of it in teaching, so I can ask it to plan instruction. So the way I try to use it is it can help you simplify some concepts that is very hard to understand and teach to your students. So for instance, here I just ask, explain in simple way photosynthesis, and then it gives me this information. So imagine some of our high school teachers. Okay, some of them don't even have any concept about the thing, and the one that I heard from now, they have to teach biology, chemistry, and physics. Not unlike before. During my time, there's a teacher for bio, there's a teacher for chemistry, and there's a teacher for physics. Okay, so imagine if they have a tool like this one. You can ask it to prepare you handout or materials. If you ask it to create a course syllabus, okay, so it will give you whatever you do. Of course, you still have to check. Okay, you can ask it for differentiation, where the students has different what we call learning problem or learning disability, or give differentiated activities for classification of matter. So if visual learner, this is what you do. Auditory learners, this is what you do. Okay, so you don't have to read books, you don't have to look or use Google search, okay, to look for it. Or maybe like this, professional correspondence, okay? So you can ask it, write an email informing estudyante bagsak, failed Chem 16. So you're going to write it for you. So all you need to do is cut and paste it and then email the students who failed the course, okay? Rather than think for a while, what will I say, okay? Or you can do it as assessment. Now, my students in electrochemistry in UPLB knows how I prepare my quiz for them. So create a multiple choice question with correct answers about liquid junction in electrochemistry. Okay, but you have to check. Okay, because however we could say pass, they give you the answer most likely. Okay, some of them are not 100% correct. You can ask it for instruction and feedback. So you want to check the grammar. Okay, so I put like this one and it says, so this is, I always ask myself, why do I have to pay $120 for Grammarly a year when it can be done here for free? Okay, so you can ask it to do some of the, I remember when we are in college, we have to devise a way like economics for the elements in a group. So you can ask it to do that. But the warning that we have there is, it may always sound authoritative when disseminating in inaccurate content, but erroneous and polished publications pops up with human communication. Nevertheless, you have to check all the AI produced information for accuracy and usefulness before it reaches the student. So you still have to check. They said ChatGPT, okay, works well if you use human judgment and expertise with it. And you cannot use this for what we call writing, because it will give you citations that doesn't exist. So the way I do that, I use the perplexity. Okay, because the perplexity, unlike the ChatGPT, it gives me the source to check if they really exist. Okay, the ChatGPT won't give you the source, so you cannot copy it and then write it as it, because it came from somebody's, we could say, publication. So here, give examples of analogies for chemical bonding. So gives me this thing, and then it gives the sources. So I have what we call new materials already for my class. Okay, there are others we could say AIs that is available. Canmigo is a Khan Academy thing for learning thing, but I tried to use it. It's charging me $10 per month. Okay, donation to the what we call the Khan Academy. Okay, so the experience that I have is makes me excited in getting additional sources of information that are free, and it makes me visit my lecture notes so I can add more examples or being able to explain in simple ways some concepts that are too abstract or difficult to teach. And the thing is, I have a test bank that is free, or for the students, they have a reviewer for free. And I don't need to pay to edit my papers and correspondence with this, what we call AI tools that I have. And I asked the participants on the seminars and webinars that I gave in different institutions, and they said content delivery is the one that they find it to be the most useful, followed by assessment and personalization. Okay, and if you're going to use this in scientific publications, so there's papers in the ACS journals about it. So the way that they allow you to do it is in terms of the strength, so it can jumpstart your writing. So sometimes you have a hard time, okay, writing your first paragraph in the introduction. So maybe you can ask some help on it. It can level the playing field, especially for non-English speaker, non-English native speaker. Okay, it can refine your text and highlight the overlooked topics, but you have to be careful about it, because if you're going to look at it, I ask my students, how can you say the introduction that it wrote compared to the introduction that you have? I said it's so shallow. Okay, there's a limited base knowledge. It can hallucinate, gives you information that is really not true. Okay, and the potential reliance, over-reliance, and plagiarism. So the recommendations based on those articles is no cut and paste. If you have any out from the ChatGPT and other AI tool, you consider it's very early draft. Okay, you verify the citations and then acknowledge in the acknowledgement and experimental section your use of an AI bot, and do not use it as an author. Okay, and the threat that they have right now, will it make the teacher obsolete? But as Bill Gates says, it's just a technology. Okay, technology is just a tool. It's still the teacher that will the most important, we could say, factor in teaching. But what you have to keep in mind, AI will not replace you, but people using AI will definitely replace you. Okay, and if we're going to use this, we could say, to reach out those far-flung provinces that we have. There's always three big challenges in education, and I think AI tool can help them: providing quality education, ensuring education is accessible to all, and reducing the cost of delivery to provide affordable education. But this is only applicable if we have the infrastructure. Okay, when you say infrastructure, the internet connectivity. And we all know that the Philippines has one of the worst internet connectivity, except during May 21 election, I think May 22 election. That's the fastest in the world during that time. Okay, and I'd just like to share to you, I think Dr. Jeff Buncoin is here, because you might say about the Khan Academy, but we have a Pinoy version of Khan Academy. So this is what we call founded by one of my, not really directly student, okay, Dr. Jeff Buncoin, who is from ExxonMobil. And we could say, idea that we have is to at least help, especially the science teachers that we have. So they're able to develop materials, okay, from, I would say, grade 3 to the high school, okay? So this is similar to the advocacy that I have about project community. The original idea of the project community, I was an instructor at IC during that time, and I told my colleagues, the younger one, the one at the same age of mine, so instead of us complaining about the quality of the students that we get, why don't we find ways to help the teachers in upgrading their ability in teaching STEM? So that's the idea that I have. And then what happened when I left, okay, we didn't continue that, okay? But whenever I go to the Philippines, I give seminar workshop in every place that I go, because I don't usually want to just go on vacation. I said, this is a working vacation. That's my family is complaining with me that we should be vacationing, but I'm working. And it made a very great impact during the pandemic. One thing that comes out of pandemic is the world became smaller. So I was able to share to teachers first the experience that we have here during the remote learning, the shift to remote learning. And then after that, whatever breakthroughs that we have in teaching, like the AI, I also share it. So I have some universities that I always say, oh, I have this one, okay? And I'm really thankful for them. But the thing that we need to remember, these tools that we have, they're just here to help enhance the teaching, learning, and writing process. And as what the educator from 20th century, John Dewey, said, if we teach today as we taught yesterday, we rob our children of tomorrow. But we also have to be careful that we cannot be over-relying on our AI, because as one Nobel laureate says, technology is a useful servant, but a dangerous master, okay? So I'd like to thank everyone now, Ma'am Giselle, for giving this thing after what we call listening to my talk with TIP. I think TIP is the one who is credited for this one. Okay, because after TIP, I was able to give webinars to this, what we call different universities. Tomorrow, I will be giving a webinar about AI on PhilSci Hub, and on Monday on PUP. But if you are one from schools, you are, sabi nga nila, PM is the key. You can just PM me, and then we can at least set Wala akong bayad. TIP already cleared for that and WCC. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Maraming salamat. Go ahead, Alvin.
Go ahead, Giselle. Oh, so thank you very much, Elmer. So you just
Yes.
confirmed it, huh? Guys, those universities who are participating in our session today, it's a very welcome, invitation, no, for Elmer. But I hope you have also to consider Elmer is a human being. He's not an AI, di ba? So we have to, and if we want to sustain, the resources to be able to reach more and more universities in the country, I think we have to share those resources to everyone. So thank you very much, Elmer. Very, very interesting. Even myself, I have not used much on Chat GPT, much more videos. So now I have a lot of ideas already, how we can utilize these tools, no, for our teaching and learning. So maybe, Giselle, no,
Yes.
let's just straight away from our participants' questions, no. Maybe later on we will have our questions, but we have academician Sean Raimundo raising her hand. Sean, you're now acknowledged. Thank you.
Congratulations, Elmer. That's a great lecture. So that's why you should echo this talk to a bigger audience, like what we are organizing in the NAST and in the Microbiology Consortium in the Philippines. Anyway, I wanted to ask you about, have you heard about the AI 101 for teachers being offered by OpenAI?
Unfortunately, I have not heard about it, but because there's a lot of this AI 101 that they're offering here. There's a lot of group of personality, and if I have a time, I'm listening the one that is based from New York. I forgot the lady's name.
Mira
because
Morate. Mira Morate, and
Oh
she's
no, it's
OpenAI.
not there. Oh, the OpenAI sequence.
Yeah, if you can check that out and share with what you will learn with other teachers in our forum, in our forthcoming forum.
Yeah, okay.
Excellent, Elmer.
Thank you.
Okay, so thank you. Are there questions on the chat box, Alvin? Somehow I cannot access them
No,
now. I do. I'm sorry.
so-
It's here. Yeah. Just congratulations. Looks like from everyone. So Alvin, before anything else,
yeah,
we
sure.
hit about 95 attendees today. So everyone's interested in your topic, Elmer, and you've gone far and wide. Your reach is now 100, 100 to 1,000, and that should increase even more. Now, for those who did not attend from the beginning, just know that this webinar is recorded and it can be seen in the PAASE website, as are the two other previous fireside chats, and all those that are coming. We will sustain this until next year. I think we have speakers every Friday, Alvin. Okay, so stay with us. So, well, my question, if I may, until we have another raised hand, I think that first we had this a conversation with the guidelines, the unmet needs, and there are many in the education system in the Philippines at every level: primary, basic, and then secondary and tertiary, and then to that postgraduate level. So I like your statement on first teach the teachers, because then one would have the multiplier effect. And so in connection with teaching the teachers and empowering them with your videos, your MOOCs, and your CAN, International Pinoy, and now AI Chat GPT. I would like to know how you would address the teachers' important responsibility of imparting values to the students So my own tagline was KV CS, knowledge, values, competencies, and skills as part of our teaching mandate or mission. So that's my first question. How do you impart values in the sciences and in general as, to become human beings who are responsible through their science? My second question is, how would you use AI well to evaluate the students fairly and well, in a way that would match their performance, their independent performance, their analytical, synthetic, and creative skills as well as shown in their work, in their independent work, and give them the proper rating, because that seems to be a problem now. In UP, you may have heard that there were 300 summa cum laudes at the last graduation. So that's attributed to many factors. So proper grading and proper honors.
Yep.
2 questions.
Yeah. So for the first one, I think we need to develop teachers before they become teachers, include in the curriculum a way on how they have to acquire some strategies needed to at least teach sciences, because I would say most of the students who went to science were influenced by their teachers. I myself, I went to chemistry because of my high school chemistry. Now, the problem that we have is the system that we have right now. I don't know how true it is, but when I was giving webinars in 2020 to 21, teachers now have to teach biology, chemistry, and physics. So that would be like jack of all trades, but master of none. So it will affect their competency, how competent they are in teaching those courses. So maybe if you're going to utilize that thing, you have to make sure you have a strong modules or curriculum that this teacher can use. Because I remember when the pandemic came in, most of the requests for me when I give a talk is, how can we develop laboratory, what we call experiment? And they were surprised when I said, you just go to the kitchen and you can discuss all the chemistry stuff that is happening there. So that's why I was thinking myself, oh no, is this how the level of our teachers has gone, it worsened? And even in some of my students right now, what, you never discussed this one? Because I remember when I was a teacher, I tried to incorporate everything around us as an example. So I remember when I was discussing electrochemistry, I said, oh, you know what happening when we have these galvanized iron sheets? Okay, one of the metal is being sacrificed so that the other metal will be protected. So I was surprised. Some of my students, oh, we don't know about that. I said, so how has the level of our teachers gone so worse? And then I cannot also, we could say, how could you do that? Say bad things about the teacher, because most of our good teachers are also leaving our country. Most of them are here with me in New York City. So I think there should be some sort of a package salary that can induce the teachers, especially the sciences, to stay, so that when they stay, yung parang they have this dignity on their part. Oh, a teacher ako, so mataas yung tingin sa akin. But I think parang, oh, teacher ka lang. I think that's a little bit degradatory on the term for me, because my sister is a teacher there, my wife is a teacher, my mom finished an education course. So I would say I came from a family of teachers, and I think this is the only profession that responsible for the other professions. So I think we need to improve the quality of teachers that we have there. So maybe the first one is give them a higher salary, okay, and then train them properly and let them know that there are tools availavailable. Khan Academy is available for free in YouTube. Okay, it would take you 8 years if you're going to watch all Khan Academy videos. But all aspects of sciences are what we call there. So I think that's the first question that answer to the first question. For the second one, I believe in our ability to develop software or program tools to do this, we could say, evaluation. Okay, I remember, I think during one election, UP proposed like, oh, we can have a counting machine that being done by them, but the government didn't like it. Kasi ang problema, kapag may kickback na kasama, iba na yung usapan eh. Sorry to say that. Okay? I still know what's happening there, even though I'm here in the US. Okay, so I think each school, they have the capacity. You have the AI program. I invited my collaborator, Carl Pilario from the chemical engineering thing. Okay, so they can have a software. Okay, and they can, we could say, utilize based on the grades or the GWA that the student had. Is really what we could good. Because I remember when the UPCAT was not, the UPCAT test was discontinued, the test, they use an AI, okay, wherein they look at the historical grades from school and try to match it with the historical grades of students from the school and the grades of the student when he graduated in UP. Okay, so that's what we call tool, one tool that you can have. I mean, I don't know how to do these AI tools, but I always believe in the Filipino ingenuity, that they can always develop things of their own that is really applicable for our own, we could say, setting. Ma'am Giselle, you're mute.
Giselle, you're muted.
Thank you. Thank you, Elmer, for answering my two questions. And I think you addressed the problem of the teachers and also the assessment of students for their entry to the university, no? And that's some formula that we had in UP that places weight on the performance of the student in the high school. Actually, it's quite heavily weighted, and it became the only criterion during the pandemic where the UPCAT was suspended. But now UPCAT is back. But then in terms of grading the student, evaluating the performance and awarding high or cum laude honors, how would one then assess the analytical, synthetic, and creativity skills of the students accurately in the context of AI and all of these materials now available in the internet? I think that question needs to be addressed.
Okay, yeah, I think you can develop some exit program. So for the students to get the degree, okay? So you have to make the necessary thing there, and you will say that whatever the score there will heavily affect the overall grade. I think this is just my suggestion, just to make sure that do you really deserve the laude after your name. So I think you just have to do like an exit exam or exit test, and AI can develop some sort of that, because if you already have this information or the courses in a certain program, so all you need to do is maybe ask the AI. So you have to test this the skills or the ability of the students if he or she really understand those courses that he or she taken during that year. I think that's the only way.
Perhaps an essay will help. The writing skills would be very important.
Yeah.
Because well, we know I have a relative who teaches in Wesley College, also chemistry, and she said that just looking at the work of the students, you can already tell if it's ChatGPT generated or original, no?
Yep.
Right. So hindi pa talaga perfect ang ChatGPT.
No.
Pero baka yung next versions lalong mag-improve. Problem is hindi na siya libre. Okay,
Yeah.
so favor the ones who have the funds. I think Alvin, it's time
Yeah.
to ask a question, and I see Tito Aliga. I'm sure he has questions. Thank you for joining us, everyone.
Sige. O sige, habang wala
Alvin.
pang iba yata nagtatanong. I don't see anyone raising their hands. Elmer, no? Tanong ko, ano yung mga challenges that you have experienced, no, in a couple of years that you have been using AI tools, no? Yung pag-adapt ng education, yung content niya mismo from AI tools. So because normally sabi mo nga, pwede ang AI mag-provide sa iyo yung content na gano'n. So how do you what are your what challenges have you had, no, in your experience in terms of adapting yung content, educational content ng mga courses that you have actually applied because of the use of AI?
Well, at first we thought that, oh, this is just a money-making scheme by these publishers or book publishing company. Okay, you buy this book and we have this package for you on that AI. But since I've been there, since it was introduced with mastering in chemistry, and we tried to do some correlation studies. So who did the what we call the online requirements and those who did not? And let's look at the overall performance of the students. So we found a correlation that those who do their online what we call requirements and they're doing it well, those are the ones who end up with A's. Okay. And those who didn't do or always complain, oh, it's so hard, especially with the Alex, because I can always detect right away the student if he's smart. He will say, oh, I know math. And then I always tell my students, no, you don't have to convince it to me. You have to convince it to your AI. The AI is the what we call the software that they need to answer. Because I said, I will always believe you, but it's always the rule that we have in the forensic science. We said people lies, but evidence don't. So the evidence is always the one that carry more weight than what you said. That's what I always tell to my students. So the thing is, sometimes they just offer this package to you. Sometimes you're hesitant to it. But if they explain it to you, you understand it, and then you try to do your own research and work, does it really has an impact to the student? So that's the one that convinced me, oh, this is going to be useful. The only request that we have, because every year they always increase the price, is that, oh, we don't want this price to increase, because if you increase, I'm going to call another company which giving me a much lower rate. So that's, we could say, I was hesitant at the beginning because I don't have any idea what it do. But when it shows me how it is, so usually they ask us to attend some seminar or webinar, or they ask us some video to watch some videos to tell us how it works. So when we see how it works, so especially I like the Alex, because if the student answer all the questions correctly, he's done with the requirement in 20 minutes. So he was able to convince the AI that he had the knowledge that needs.
Thank you, Elmer. Other questions, on our virtual floor? Yes,
I have a comment.
Sean.
Ay, sige.
Tito, sorry, I've
Go ahead,
seen Academia Sean, and then come back to you.
Thank you.
I have the floor. Okay. I'm just curious, Elmer, how long will a teacher learn how to use these AI materials? For example, they're new to AI. They want to use AI. How soon do they be able to absorb the AI?
It depends on how interested they are. Usually they said the prompt is the key. The command is the key. So you give the right command, you're able to use it. At least for ChatGPT.
Oh, yeah. Because I tried using GPT and I couldn't go through it. So But of course, I'm not techie. Maybe the other younger teachers will be able to learn it faster. So I was wondering how fast will a teacher be able to absorb and use such GPT.
Ma'am Sean, try to treat it as a person of knowledge, and you try to get something out of it. So you keep on asking, refining the question until you're satisfied with the answer.
Yeah, I think the interrogation is very important.
Yeah.
AKR is just like also interrogating Google search. No? If you ask the right questions, put in the right keywords, I think you will get the right answers. Interrogation is very important. Yes.
Try again. Thanks.
Yeah, syempre parang may konting resistance yung mga medyo oldies or elders. Meron talagang konting resistance ganyan, ano? Pero you can get the hang of it eventually. So,
Parang ang tanong po, pigain nyo hanggang lumabas yung information na kailangan nyo.
okay, meron pa kayang mga questions tayo?
Tito, I think,
Ayan na,
Giselle, Tito earlier
Yeah.
was
Tito, yes, please.
Yeah.
Tito
Thank you.
Aliga.
Yeah,
Tito.
Sino muna? Is it me, Alvin?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
The floor
Thank you
is
very much,
yours now.
Prof. Eric, for sharing with us your experiences. I'm one of those guys cited by Giselle as all this, because I believe in NI, natural intelligence. And this is what I mean, that in many cases, like the graduates of our recent pandemic period, our industry friends tell us that they lack true grit. They know a lot, but when it comes down to the laboratory, to the field, give up. Okay. So what I'm saying is that, yeah, all of this IAI, again, NI is still, I think, is the best way, and natural intelligence. And then talking about helping our teachers teach. One of the things we are looking at now is, again, grassroots. You know, how do we help the barangay school teacher teach science? Of course, you can have chat GPT, chat, etc., etc. But my own thinking is that if we enlist the employees of factories in the community, you know, their chemists, their lab technicians, their electricians, to become teacher aides in the barangay school that is supported by their company, that will multiply the excellence of teaching of science, STEM, in that specific barangay school. So it is, my point is that I believe in actual proof of concept on the ground. Of course, I believe in chat GPT also, but between chat GPT and Elmer, I would rather believe Elmer, okay, or Giselle or Alvin, because these are guys who have done something on the ground, okay, not in the cloud. So again, the point is that I'm always looking for things that we can implement easily, and again, enlisting company employees on a volunteer time, or maybe even on company time, to become teacher aides in their barangay schools. That will generate a lot of interest among the school children. Because as you say, imagine a teacher, a father and mother teaching his own children and his neighbors' children that this is how galvanized iron works, etc., etc. You don't need, maybe they can use illustrations. What happens, bakit nagraras yan? And this is the reason. To me, again, I'm as Giselle said, I am the old folks. I don't deny that. But I believe in NI. NI delivered right at the doorstep of our learners. Thank you.
Maraming salamat, my mentor,
Thank you very much.
Sir Tito Aliga, who is the Executive Director of the UP Engineering R&D Foundation. So, totoo po yan. It's NI ultimately. And you just shared a very innovative idea, Tito, on how to educate our barangay officials and schools, and getting industry. You're a champion of industries, in the Philippines. Many of our UP graduates are running industries, and yes, they are a great source of
Resource,
knowledge
yeah.
that they have imparted to their employees. And wow, let's work on such a project, Tito, with the UP ERDFI. Mag-umpisa tayo dun sa ating core group, no? So that also brings me to this on-the-ground issue, which I'm always concerned about, and I will ask Elmer the question that I asked him when he gave the talk at TIP, and I'd like to acknowledge the TIP faculty who are here today. How will you teach laboratory? And I know he has an answer to this question, Tito.
Yeah.
Laboratory and field science, based science. Napaka-importante.
Sabi nga ng sub-industry guys, Giselle, is mga graduates natin na hindi pa alam ang diferensya ng smell, ng odor ng chlorine at fluorine. Because
Terrible.
they were never in a laboratory.
Wow.
Very basic things like that.
Oo nga, how can, walang substitute for that.
Correct.
So I think
Anyway,
Elmer has an answer to this kasi ginagawa na sa PACE. Bumalik na tayo sa blended, face-to-face and online, no? So, Elmer.
So, what we did, American Chemical Society is generous to provide funding for those students who miss the in-person experience during the pandemic. So PACE University was lucky enough to get funded. So what we did is we choose some experiments that we said if they perform this, they will acquire the required techniques that they need to know, okay, and satisfy whatever they missed during the online setup. So we're able to contact all majors in chemistry, biochemistry, and forensic science during that time that missed the pandemic, and we're able to do this like remedial experiment, not only in Gen Chem but also in organic. But I'm the one who handled in Gen Chem. But that is because we have funding, and I know the Institute of Chemistry in UP Los Baños did the same thing during the summer last year. I think I was there. Okay, they also conducted some experiments to make up for those students who missed this what we call in-person setup, because it's really hard if you are a chemist and you don't even know how to do titration. I remember in the ACS, it's a big deal. They want to pace out the laboratory, and I'm one who questioned one of the big-time professor here. I said, how are you going to do titration? You're just going to click the mouse, because they want to do everything with the virtual laboratory. I don't think you can get the what we call skills you need in titrating if you're just doing titration by clicking the mouse by everyone was surprised, because I think no one asked question to that lady who is an authority here. I said, no, I mean, this is how it is, because one thing that we need to know is they need to do to know how to do titration. If they cannot do that, they cannot even work as a lab aide or lab tech. Okay?
That's good, Elmer.
Pero I recall, this is related to the topic now. I will read this comment from Annalyn Esmano of EBSU. Thank you for joining us, Annalyn. Alvin and I are happy about this. Says, through AI tools, teachers can explore teaching learning, but the sad thing is students in a science stream are losing their emotional quotient. Just an observation. And emotional quotient, to me, the positive side of it is the passion for science, the positive emotion, which gets us interested because we see, feel, and do things ourselves with our hands. Sabi nga ng MIT, it's mens et manus, mind and hands. Eh ngayon, meron na tayong instruments. Assuming na mahusay yung instruments natin, click na lang, control na lang, eh di maganda yung data natin, reproducible, verifiable, recordable, etc., etc. Pero there are still areas where instruments are not used, no? So I think this relates to Tito's comment about working on the ground. That's our favorite tagline, Alvin, on the ground. Everything we do. Kaya si Alvin, punta sa Tacloban at sa Ilocos at lahatan. But anyway, Elmer, you have to share with us what you told us at the TIP lecture you gave, which is what you do is you first video yourself
Yeah.
planning your experiment systematically. It reminds me actually of my daughter who's a
Yeah.
scientist, and one of my our outstanding professors in biology now, who was my RA, Joyce Ibana, also an innovator. Anyway, pinapakita mo muna how to design and to plan the experiment well systematically, parang sa laboratorio, and then how to you demo how to perform the experiment, and then you have to meet with them on face to face in person. Hindi pa pwedeng mawawala talaga yun. Yung mga laboratorio hindi na lang gagamitin.
True.
Anyway, explain further please, Elmer.
So what we usually do, okay, because my nature is using instrument. So
Analytical
the way I do the class in instrumental, it's a rotation thing. So every meeting, there's 3 experiments ongoing. Kaya talagang sabog yung utak ko. So to make sure that the students learn, okay, kasi usually ang style sa mga estudyante, merong isang dominant. I will do everything for the group. Okay, so what I do, every meeting, I want each of you will lead the experiment. Next meeting, another person will lead the experiment. Next meeting, another person will lead the experiment. So I'm sure at least in the first set of experiment, each of you knows how to use one instrument. Kasi you are the one leading the experiment.
Good.
And if ever there will be some problem, you know how to troubleshoot. We always want some experiment to fail so that they will know how to troubleshoot. Because we don't want to say student, well, the machine don't work. I have students like that. What do you mean the machine don't work? There must be an explanation why it doesn't work. Yun yung parang hindi nagwo-work. Sabihin mo, anong ginawa mo? I always ask them to tell me what you did so I will know what's the problem. Okay. Although we have always this what we call video on showing them how to use each of the instrument. We cannot just make it public because we have the university don't like it. Even I was scolded by some of my by my department chair. You're not supposed to do that. So he asked me the forensic science lecture to be out. I was teaching toxicology. I said, no, you cannot do that because you have their students who will be in the law enforcement. So we will be in legal trouble if you go to do that. So tinanggal ko. Okay, but we have some in-house thing, and whenever we ask for funding in NSF, they ask you, in what way are you going to disseminate the findings that you have? So dapat may ano yun, yung parang meron kang plan. Paano mo ituturo sa mga estudyante o sa mga users ng instrument yung paggamit ng instrument. So we will say, we will do a video about it, how to be used, and before they can use it, it has to be certified by the PI and the co-PI that the student knows how to use the instrument. So we always have this what we call compilation of videos. So depending on what instrument they want to use, okay, this is how you use. That's why when the student said, what do you mean it didn't work? So it only shows that the student didn't watch the video. We always want the student, yun yung parang ano namin marketability. In a small university like PAASE, the students do hands-on compared to a big university of Mike Purgan and NYU, that the undergrad, I said, you're lucky if you can even see what the UBBs is, because usually they don't allow you to use it. There's a teaching lab, but the opportunity for you to use it, because you have hundreds of students competing for the use of the instrument. So it's very, we could say, limited. So yan yung parang practice namin. I think because of my field, analytical science and instrumental method. So you have to watch this video first and then throw it. And kung hindi ka man gagamit nun, when we do the experiment, I even ask them to what we call do a video on how to use this instrument. As a what we call as a requirement that they have. So I told them, you have what? We have 7 instruments, so at least record for 1 instrument. So at least for then, I can always tell them that that's the time you can put in your CV that you know how to use this instrument. Because we got a lot of complaints from on the field, like the OSHMI, the DEA, Drug Enforcement Agency, Office of Chief Medical Examiner, na meron daw naglalagay, know how to use MS, tapos GCMS, pag gamit na hindi alam kung paano. That's why I always tell my student, make sure if you put that in CV, you know the principle and how to use it.
Okay, so we're now at 9:56. Alvin, anong ating
Giselle,
mga tanong?
meron si ano yata Gladys na
Hi, good
kompleto
morning.
tanong. Go ahead,
Yes.
Gladys.
Thank you very much. So again, congratulations, Elmer, for the wonderful
Thank you po.
webinar. So we've been talking about innovation, and you also mentioned that we have to start teaching our teachers. So is there a way, so I'm challenging PAASE and Ma'am Giselle through the NIC, is there a way we can we can come up with a program where we will be able to finance, how or yes, finance, or so that we can educate our teachers, not face to face, because it's easy to reach our teachers if we do these webinars or demonstration of the proper techniques and the proper concepts, to teach them the proper concepts. Is there a way we can do that, right, ma'am, to come up with a program na Elmer is introducing AI, but still we have to go back and let them know and share the basic concepts and basic techniques that AI cannot teach them. So,
Thank you.
yun.
Thank you for that question, VP Gladys, President-elect of PAASE, Gladys Completo, UP Los Baños. I'm sorry that I did not recognize our officials and other guests earlier. But as we are approaching the launch of the National Innovation Agenda and the strategy document, which is next Wednesday, we'd like to bring back to mind the 10 priority areas of the NIC, and one of them is in learning education. I think it's the first, if not one of the first identified. Now, as an executive member, together with the other EMs, we are still trying to see how we can make a significant impact in the NIC. So at present, we have to put in agenda items at the next NIC meeting, and we have been busy about this. But we've gotten like positive indications that what we requested to be involved in might be good, might be okay with them. One is to hold innovation competitions. So for example, those who already have projects that are already working, for example, Elmer may be collaborating with you, UP Los Baños team, already teaching. That could be the presentation of an innovation in learning education. For example, Vicer, Tito, remember, until now we have not commercialized Vicer, but it has such great potential. I was just thinking a while ago, what if for every experiment in Vicer, or for typical ones, there could be a video. The problem with Vicer is even the teachers have resist using it. But we already have 4 lab manuals there. Okay, so those are just examples of innovation in learning and education. Now, the other activity that we would like to be involved in is to try to get the innovation grants, IRR, the rules, the criteria, the coverage of the innovation grants that would officially start next year, because the last 2 years, last year and this year, we were told are not the regular innovation grants. And so within the week or between now and the NIC meeting in October, we will probably know what it is that we can do to improve the call for innovation grants. And so those of us who have ideas on how to innovate learning and education could submit grants. So that is our hope, VP Gladys, but at this point, I really cannot promise anything, okay, that we can do yet, no? Because this has to be approved by the NIC.
Thank you, ma'am.
So are there other questions from our colleagues in the academe. Medyo marami tayong participants from all over the country, Elmer and Giselle.
Oo, I'm very...
Go ahead, Giselle.
No, I'm very happy. Anybody has a question? I see many young ones. I also want to recognize our attendees from the DOST. Maraming salamat for joining us. It would be great if our attendees could add their affiliations to their names so that we can do stats on hindi naman AI, Elmer, pero parang ganun na rin yun, no? Pag nalaman natin kung sino nang attend, edi paparamihin pa natin sila. O kung yung hindi na nag-attend, kailangan natin kumbilahin sila. So AI na rin yan, di ba? Oo, and we have to thank our always the woman of the hour, Feb Escares of the PAASE, for putting this together. And she invited many of our orgs like of course, the PAASE and PAASE and Friends, and then the NAS, and then last minute NRCP, I had to do it, and NIC Secretariat and EMs, I also invited them. And so I would wish that our stalwarts in PAASE would invite their colleagues in their universities to attend this fireside chats. So if there is nothing else that we would like to ask Elmer, maybe we can now well, formally thank him for a very enlightening and exciting talk that you gave. And what shines through, Elmer, is your dedication to education in the field of chemistry, which I share with you, because to be honest, I believe that chemistry is the most important science. It is the science of the material world, and we live on Earth, which is, well, of course, all about matter and its interactions with, well, through energy. Okay, so fundamental science, scientific principles, very, very important to know, to understand. So Alvin, let's post the next webinar that we will have, the last one in September. And if Deb is ready, she may have a poster for the October speakers. So
Giselle, before we, I think Marge Peña has
that's
a
wonderful
question. Maybe Marge, you may want to ask your question.
I missed the
no, I just really wanted to congratulate them for a very informative talk. You know, my only comment is that I'm one of the elders, and sometimes there's a resistance to try new methods. You know, even inverting my biochemistry class, doing that kind has a lot of resistance. So sometimes when people like you lead the way and show us, start out with all the slides that you have, which I'm gonna investigate tomorrow. It really encourages people, even old people like me, to start learning and doing AI, especially since it's very relevant these days. So I think those of us who are in attendance, we really should investigate what Elmer has done, the videos he has started, and see where we can fit it, and then begin our journey through AI. Because as Elmer says, we've had it all along. We just didn't realize it until ChatGPT came along. So that's all I have to comment. Thank you so much for all your innovation and all these innovative ways of teaching. I'm sure it'll make my students interested.
Marge, thanks for that. Really,
Yeah.
I have a suggestion. Let's have a little subsidiary webinar where Elmer will demo. Let's do that, everybody. Let's do that. And I'll tell you what happened at the last annual scientific meeting last July. Chris Monterola, who's also great AI teacher and user, demoed to us how you can teach the Newton's laws. Okay, so he's a physicist, but in the context of the Philippines. So Tito, this is to answer your question. So ChatGPT was interrogated. It has to be in the Philippine context.
Yeah.
And the example that ChatGPT used was the jeepney. So just an example of how smart ChatGPT is. Okay? So it's so exciting, Elmer. This has to be ongoing. Kung pwede kang weekly, why not? Invite mo naman kami sa iyong mga
Yes.
I have to confess, Giselle, that during the APAMS in Florida, when Elmer said that he used ChatGPT to generate an introduction to one of the speakers, I was not scheduled to introduce you, and I'm like, oh my God, I have to introduce Giselle. I'm like, I went to GPT and started doing something, and then it started. No, there are good things, and then there are things that were like, oh no, I can't say this. You know, you can't depend on it.
You know, Marge, I'm giving a talk in an international women's conference, and the person who you know, was getting my bio note and was frustrated I wasn't giving it. She interrogated me on ChatGPT and asked the wrong questions. And you know what? It's kind of medyo on the periphery. Gisela Concepcion of Peru, working on mangroves.
Oh my God.
Kaya mali. Kaya
Baka maraming Gisela Concepcion sa buong mundo.
Meron din.
It was accurate, but then sometimes I thought that if I say this, Giselle will strangle me. So
Gigo rin yan. Gigo. Garbage.
So meron pala alam ang ChatGPT na marami tayong hindi natin alam.
Ay, grabe. Okay.
Even ourselves. Sige.
This conversation can go on and on, Alvin, and diba, this is what we call, it's a very, very important way of doing scientific fellowship. This is what I call scientific fellowship. Na nag-uusap-usap tayo ng ganito na informal lang. Diba? Pero napaka-constructive, napaka-productive sa tingin ko. So anyway, Alvin, ikaw na yung mag-introduce ng ating next speaker next week to. Napaka-importante nito. Kasi ngayon, marami tayong problema dito sa livestock industry, poultry industry.
Yeah, so this would be next week ito, no? That's the 29th of September. We'll be having another esteemed speaker, no? He is actually a medical or veterinary medical doctor, at the same time an entrepreneur. He will talk about revolutionizing animal health in the Philippines, the biotech beginning. So I hope this will excite you again for another week as we actually welcome Dr. Homer D. Pantua for our next week's edition of our PAASE for Philippine Innovation Fireside chat series. So we welcome everyone again, and for your friends, please encourage them to participate and attend our weekly Fireside chat series, which Giselle and myself will be co-hosting until probably next year. No? So again, Giselle, you may want to thank.
I just wanted to tell you something about Homer so that you will be sure to join us. You know, Homer is also a virologist, PhD from MassGen in virology. And he's a vet med grad of UP Los Baños. And then he worked at the RITM. And then after his stints in the US, he joined Genentech, the famous Genentech in San Francisco. Guess what? He has resigned from Genentech and he formed his own company, BioAssets Incorporated, and it's doing very well. And we have been working together on the ASF vaccine import, and we're also he's also part of our NAST group, Alvin, on AI, a different kind of AI, avian influenza or bird. Napaka-importante po ng mga topics na yan sa ating agriculture, livestock, and well, poultry, no? Anyway, ito na po yung ating plano, and this will just go on and on. So ito na yung ating September on the left side. Yan na. And then in October, meron na tayo. Andiyan na si Gobet Advincula. AI naman in chemical synthesis. Okay? How AI is directing research, chemical research. Ralph Turingan, do you recall? Marge and Gladys, he spoke about mariculture, aquaculture, innovation. And then, wow, this lady, she's Taiwanese, but she's now here with the presence working with Gawad Kalinga. She's now going to build greenhouses, smart greenhouses that can grow 30 crops. I have to tell you, she's like my daughter. So Vanessa and Mark Lawrence Cruz of Gawad Kalinga will speak together. So ito, Feb, this is one webinar. And finally, we have our robotics expert, Elmer-Rico of De La Salle, to speak in October. And then I already have a lineup in November. Hindi pa talagang magko-confirm kasi marami sila. I just need to make sure na talagang confirm na yung dates nila. December siguro 2 until the middle of December, and we'll have a Christmas break. So with that, Alvin, magpasalamat na ulit tayo, and let's now request to end the webinar today.
So Giselle, you may close now. Sorry I nag-ano na kami sa
Kasi ito si Alvin, speaker sa PILAS. Nandyan siya sa
po ngayon sa
Hotel.
convention namin.
So meron siyang PILAS meeting, kaya nagsasalita siya doon. Nagmo-multitask na naman siya. Anyway, maraming salamat. Meron ba tayong time for a group photo, everybody? Hindi na dapat kanina ginagawa na natin yung natin. Pero kung meron pang mga andyan, at
Yeah,
we were
there's still people
95.
here.
I think we were 95 attendees. So we're happy with
Feb?
this. Gladys. Sige.
Feb, can you do the...
Yes.
open the cameras.
Okay.
Nice.
1, 2, 3. Smile. Page 2 po. 1, 2, 3. Smile. Page 3 po. 1, 2, 3.
Yan po yung boses ni Feb. Siya po yung Wonder Woman natin sa PAASE.
Yes,
Page
thank you
4 po.
very much.
1, 2,
Ma'am Giselle, do you think NRCP can come up with that parang funding to
Yes.
teach
Yes.
teachers po?
Pero kailangan kasi, sa Nibra, yung mga saklaw, sapat, yung education hindi basta very para bang well spelled out as a priority, no?
Yes, but
Pero we will take up at the next governing board meeting, which is on Monday. Thank you for the reminder, kasi all of us, we really appreciate what NRCP is doing in terms of providing grants. I see URS Tep is here.
Yes.
Hi,
Hi,
Tep. Hello, everybody. Mga kasama namin sa PAASE. Ayan si Dr. Desmond Haltea andyan din. So I just want to greet people that I know I should, but have not. So anyway, it's nice to see everybody, no? My gosh, Lito Bernardo of UP ERDFI is also here. So thank you so much for joining us again. So ito po yung ating mga attendees. DOST from Mimaropa na andito po. So thank you for joining us. We can now reach you far and wide. Stay with us. Stay with us in this webinar series, and we will all learn together. Aangat po lahat tayo sana in ways that we never dreamed of because of technology, because of Zoom, because of AI, but most of all because of our indomitable human spirit. As Tito said, natural intelligence pa rin po. Yun ang dapat nating protektahin, no? We have to be on top of things. USMW Western Visayas
State
University,
University.
andyan, and then USM also, kaya BPAHS High School po. So,
St. Paul University.
Anlia Lobo, syempre, CMU, andyan. So, napaka-heartwarming. Yung tinatawag nga sabi nga raw, nakakataba ng puso. Okay? Ang daming mga taga-UP, syempre. And then TIP, merong taga-Gumaka National High School. Tingnan naman ninyo yan. TSU. STU.
Thank you, St. Paul. In St. Paul University, they are here.
St. Paul. Lahat
So,
ito, inclusive po ito. Yun po yung gusto natin gawin sa NIC, mas inclusive. Lahat pwedeng mag-submit ng proposal. Lahat pwedeng mag-join ng kompetisyon. Di ba? Oo. And definitely PAASE is all-inclusive. Libre po lahat ng sa PAASE. Yaan. Maraming salamat sa lahat. Mukhang kailangan tayo mag-end ngayon.
Giselle, exit na ako ha.
Okay, ako rin,
nandito kasi si
exit na tayo.
Secretary
Okay.
Rene and Secretary Boy nandito. See you everyone.
Maraming salamat.
Thank you.
Oo.
See you next week. Everyone, we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Maraming
Elmer,
salamat.
thank you. Marge.
Salamat po lahat.
Gladys,
Okay,
thank you.
we'll end na, no? We'll leave na. Okay, Feb.
Thank you, Feb. Thank you. Annalyn, thank you. And everyone.
Thank you
Bye-bye.
po.
Elmer, maraming salamat.
St.
Salamat,
Paul,
Ma'am
thank you.
Giselle.
I sent you a message, okay? Okay, bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you, DOST Region 2.
Bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.